Hi YouTube, my name's Leah Lauder and I'm a mega church cult survivor. If you've been following my content, I've been exposing the mega church cult that I was in before First Love under Dag Heward's Mustard Seed Chapel International. Right now I find myself in hospital. Sorry. You know, I don't really post much on YouTube because I always feel like I need to come on and look my best, and right now I'm actually having an adrenal crisis. I have Addison's, that's what I was diagnosed with whilst I was in the cult and post-cult exit as well. Right now I'm in the hospital fighting for my life. I developed hyperadrenalism, Addison's, kidney disease, and I have a possible diagnosis of autoimmune disease. And this is a result of the trauma that I experienced whilst being in the cult, the church cult. They just push your body and your mind to the absolute maximum, to the point where being there for 18 years and suffering a high level exposure to narcissistic abuse has taken its toll on my body and my organs. That's how bad the abuse is there. That's how bad it is. My body just started to shut down because it couldn't take the pressure of the environment. You know, these church cults are extremely high demand and high pressurizing. They require so much of your time. Like, to try and put into words the level of demand that was required there was just absolutely crazy. I need people to understand that I was working a full-time job. I was traveling 2 hours to get to that job. And then from there, I was going to church afterwards, trying to look after my family. I've got 2 kids, trying to be a wife, look after my husband, trying to take care of the home. Like, something's got to give. Like, something's got to give. It's already enough when you've got kids and you're working, and then on top of it to put this ministry there, and it's work. It's like another job. It's so demanding. It's more time than your actual work. You know, in my cult, my Bishop Dag Heward has this book, Lay People in the Ministry, and it's just the whole idea that you give your hours to God after work. Do you see what I mean? So they're like expecting you to go to work from like 9 to 5, and then up from 5 p.m. onwards, you're in the church cult, you're dedicating all your time, and that is like every day. That is like every day, like Monday to Sunday. They're starting to get their ducks in a row now and have less services and stuff. But in my day, it was like people would come from Scotland, Ireland, all over the country to come to this Tuesday service, and sometimes they would, for meetings, just to have a meeting with Sister Philippa Cocker. Do you know what I mean? Like, guys, I'm trying to get out my words to explain how high demand it is. I'm so disorientated this morning because I've woken up with so much pain. But there was just nothing that I didn't do. I was doing absolutely everything in there. I used to be a talented solo artist, a singer in praise and worship, in the choir, directing the choir. I would be doing everything for my pastors. So in other church cults, they call them like armor bearers. You know, just kind of like assisting the pastors. My whole life revolved around that church cult, you know, and there's so much pressure to like get things right and get the people in and, you know, do whatever task you have to do. It's based a lot, it's very task orientated, and it's like it's very task orientated, and then there's like high targets. Like, you have to imagine these churches are not churches, they're businesses. So there's always a target. They always got an event to put on. Listen, I was on the X Factor in 2007, yeah. I come from a background of performing, you know, touring, putting on shows. And when I tell you, these church cult settings are more pressurizing and more high demand than when you're rehearsing for tours and you've got dance routines. And I toured with the X Factor all over the UK, all over the country. And these church cults are more demanding than that. And do you know what? We're doing it every single week. Every single week. Minimum is like, some church cults, it'll be like one Sunday. You know, they have the film stars, they have like acting, then they'll have dancing, then they'll have choir, then they'll have praise and worship. And it's nice when you come along for the first time, it's beautiful. But how do you think that happened? We're rehearsing for hours. We're rehearsing for hours. We have like 6-hour rehearsals on a Saturday, sometimes longer. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just absolutely draining. And you've got to commit to it every single week. There's got to be someone teaching the choristers in that rehearsal, and then the choristers have to come. So this is where the coercive control comes into it, the gaslighting, the force, the manipulation through fear. Then you've got the same thing with the dancing. You've got the same thing with anything that they're doing in there. It's a show. It's cabaret. It's lights, camera, action. That is what these churches have turned into today. They are not churches. They are not churches. They are shows. It's like a tour. It's like when you go and see an artist, and it's like a tour. Artists speak as well. They don't just sing. They'll have their intervals where they speak. That is what these church cults have become, because they're teaching a false doctrine. They go well outside of the Bible. Look at what my cult leader did the other day in Ghana, Dag Heward. He put on a little rendition of Strange Woman, and the woman was wearing provocative dressing. She had on a silver dress, which she performed with a guy, and she ripped the dress off. Actually, do you know what? Let me give you a bit of background. My cult leader is a malignant narcissist and perhaps a sociopath, and he wrote a song called Strange Women, and he writes Christian lyrics over worldly beats. So he's done that with the Michael Jackson song Thriller. So now he's felt like he needed to do a rendition performance for a New Year's concert. So the girl had like a silver dress on, but then she had another tiny dress on underneath. So the guy ripped off the dress, and then she proceeded to undress the guy like in the show, taking off the belt, taking off his shirt, because they had layers on. And then she was left in like this little dress, and she's like winding up herself, like lifting up the dress. She's got her tongue out. She's doing the splits on the floor. It's so eggshellized. Like, and apparently the cult leader, Dag Heward, that was involved in or did compose it. Yeah. And directed the whole show. So that's absolutely disgusting for a bishop, a prophet apparently, but he's a false prophet, to be directing something like that. Like, how do you do that? Do you know what I mean? You're supposed to be holy and pure, and you're supposed to be an example. So it was absolutely disgusting. So these churches have turned into spectacles. It's a circus. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got everyone, like everyone's talking about Christians now. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, everyone's got the right to. Everyone's got the right to, because it's turned into an absolute joke. Do you understand what I'm saying? So basically, back to what I was saying, we are the ones who are putting on the show. We are the ones who are giving all our time. There has to be people to teach the songs. There has to be people to teach the dances. There has to be people to direct and teach the acting. It's done in a church, but people are getting paid to do this in real life, and a lot of money. This is why the creatives, we get financially exploited and just exploited and rinsed out the most, because everything is galvanized and run by music. In the church cult, everything is done with music. Before the pastor preaches, during the preaching, praise and worship. Or, you know, like there's people who just come to churches, I want you to understand, just for the music. And I sing. Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? And I can't sing loud because I'm in the hospital, and that's all I'm gonna do. But I sing. And I sung for Jesus. Every time I sung with the hope someone would get saved. Someone would hear my voice and they would come to know Christ. I took that role so seriously. I gave it my heart and my soul. I gave up my dream on X Factor. thinking I was sacrificing and giving up my dream for Jesus Christ. I thought it was humility. It's fake humility. To come to see a woman on the church altar in First Love, Accra, Ghana, getting a dress ripped off her to expose her in this cheap sequin, disgusting dress with a cheap synthetic blonde wig, doing the most provocative moves on the altar of God, you know, absolutely crushed me, absolutely broke my heart. I think this might even be why I've gone into crisis. Because it's just so stressful. Like, I was taught by my pastor, the men of God, that when I was singing, it's on the altar of God. It's not a performance. You know, I have to minister. There was a woman called LP Esther in Apache. She used to rebuke me every time I sung and tell me that I'm singing this worldly support, because she was so jealous. She doesn't have the best voice. And what happens in these church cult spaces is they exploit people and they rinse you out. They rinse you. If you imagine a flannel, you know, and they rinse you out. They take everything out of you, especially your youth. That's what they do. They recruit young. They're like vampires, like energy vampires, devils. They're devils. They recruit the youth, the young people. I think these cult leaders, like, they siphon off the energy of the young people. Like, they look youthful. Like, now Dag Heward Mills, like, people are leaving the church cult and that, and Richard. I know they're getting older, but they're looking old and haggard and worn out and washed up, because they're not siphoning as much of the energy, because narcissists, they need supply. So with Esther, they used her when she was young, and then they rinsed her out and then discarded her. That's what they do. So all of the washed up older people like LP Lois, LP Jane, LP Esther, Lady Reverend Mary, we don't see them. Lady Reverend Mary in her glory was singing in praise. There was no one but that woman. My OGs will know what I'm talking about. Lady Reverend Mary was worshipped as the main praise and worship leader. They discarded her ass. She's doing up some little branch somewhere in South London, child. No one knows who LR is. That's what we used to call her. LR. They just discard us. It's just like, once you start looking too old for the ministry, because they need to appeal to the young people, they have to keep recruiting to the young people. But the Dag Heward Mills and the Richards, they're looking old, haggard and battered, still doing up preaching. But everyone else has to be discarded. Like the OGs of First Love, there were OG First Lovers that got discarded because they were starting to look old. Can you imagine? And Richard wanted to make way for the new First Lovers. It's absolutely disgusting what they do in there, guys. Absolutely disgusting. So this woman, LP Esther, was just absolutely abused and, you know, discarded, and she projected that onto me because I was like young and beautiful, and, you know, it triggers these women because then they're washed up. Do you know what I mean? They're out of their glory days now. And then they give them, another thing that they do in my church cult as well is they give the women like these stupid titles like Episcopal Sister. It just means absolutely nothing, because that's in the Bible. You're not even supposed to there's no female bishops, child. There's no female, you can't find a female bishop anywhere in the canon Bible. And in the sound doctrinal faith, they say that that's blasphemy. But Dag is blasphemous. I mean, we just saw that strange woman perform that. So Dag, you know, I don't even go to church. I don't even class myself as a Christian. I believe in Yeshua, though, don't never get it twisted. But I don't associate myself with the mess that's going on in Christendom at the moment. It's not a reflection of what my Lord and Savior means to me at all, Jale, at all. It's just not, baby. That's a fake, cheap McDonald's meal version of Yeshua. Yeah. Guys, this video is going to be all over the place because I'm a trauma survivor. But yeah, when they discard the older women, like for example, like you got LP Verity, LP Jane and LP Lois in First Love. They are grandma's child compared to the kids that are there, but they just give them these stupid titles like Episcopal hair. They give them like these counseling roles. Like they're not doing nothing in the church because they're not relevant. They're not useful. They can't relate to the youth. They're useless. So they discard them. And then they give them these stupid titles like Episcopal Sister or head manager of therapy and counseling. Greater love. It's just all smoke and mirrors. It's all, that's why they create these positions, titles and ranks in the cult, because it gives people a sense of validation because they're not actually moving up. Their life isn't actually changing. Dag Heward Mills has had no seminary training, no theological training. He was in his room one day